With a boat like this, there's no excuse not to go boating. Exactly what we're going to be doing today, ladies and gents. We've got the Iron boats with us, and we're fortunate enough to have access to 3 of the 5 models in the range. So we're going to have a little bit of fun, and I want to try and demonstrate to you why I truly do believe a design that focuses on simplicity right throughout the process, from design, construction, and delivery, might be the answer that you need that allows you to do a whole lot more boating in your boat life. So come on and let's check out all 3. From here, I think the plan today is to go for a bit of a buzz. We'll go out in the ocean. I saw some whales yesterday, so I'm just gonna try and maybe find some more for you. And then we're gonna have a race. We're gonna go for a bit of a burn. We have some tide flowing in this part of the world, so we'll go up and down the tide, and then we'll find another location and just come in shallow again, because when you don't have to think about the process of boating and the complexity like you do perhaps on some of the other boats that you've seen on my channel, with more moving parts, with more things that need maintaining, more stuff for you or your missus to do in order to go boating. If you don't have to think about all that, then you just go boating. Simple as that. So coming close, this one hopefully will look familiar. If you've come from part 1 of this video or this series down in Melbourne, this is the one we took out and had a little burn around in some incredible swells. And I'm not sure whether my camera was able to do them justice. The swells coming in from the Southern Ocean were huge, and we had a good fun time. But so this is the biggest version. I've actually kept my phone out because I have made some notes, because I want to see if you notice a theme here. And I'll start reading out and maybe jump into the comments if you do. This is the 767. So she's actually 7.67 meters long. She's got a beam of 2.44 meters. Now this one will take a 200 and up to 300 horsepower on the back, and she's 1,300 kgs. You've got 262 of fuel, dead rise of 23 degrees at the transom, and you can take 8 people. So there's one model above this, which we're going to talk about later in the video, and there's an interesting direction that this brand is going in. But that's the specs on this one, and let's move straight over to the 707. So what you need to do when you're looking at this brand, first thing you need to do is decide on the color, because you can actually decide on a white or a gray, and they've even got some super stealth blacks as well. But then the size, hopefully you'll notice what I'm about to explain, the theme which is developing. So this is the 707. We're one step down. We're 7.12 meters. Coming close and have a look at this bow entry as well. I just want you to get a feel for the whole design. We're 2.44 meters beam. Did you notice something? 2.44 meters beam. And we've got a weight of 1,150 kgs on this one. We've got a horsepower range from 150 to 250 horsepower, I believe, on this one. I hope I got that right. And then we've got 192 litres of fuel capacity, 23 degrees of dead rise again, and we can take 7 people on this one. We've got 7 seats, all right? So just think about how you boat, how many people you need to accommodate. You've always got to ask yourself, what's my mission? How do I perceive, or how am I going to use my days? And then try and find the boat that matches your intended mission. Think about your current mission and think about the next one. If you haven't had a boat before, maybe you want to start somewhere like this one. A little bit easier on the wallet and super simple to manage by yourself. So now we're looking at the 647. So this is 6.52 meters long. We got 2.44 meters of beam. Hopefully you've caught on that one so far. We've got the engine horsepower range at 115 to up to 200 horsepower, and we've got a weight of 1,000 kgs and a dead rise of 23 degrees, and we can take 6 people, all right? I couldn't memorize all that, so I had to put it in my phone. So hopefully you've picked up. The dead rise is the same. The beam is the same. These things, they just get longer. They just get longer. So come in and have a look at what's going on. We're utilizing this same center console just here. We've got the same seats, and what we're gaining as we go through the size, we've got bigger fuel tanks, we've got bigger motors, and we've got more space. So we just have a look at the space that we have available to us just here with the back seat there. Obviously there's lots of options. The website is actually fantastic on these boats. You can configure them very easily online. So I'll link to that in the video description. Now come over to the 707 and see how much space we have available to us. My legs are I've just reached capacity of my long legs to go into the water before wetting my jeans. See how we've got a seat there? Compare that to the other one. And now let's quickly go over, before we go for a burn, and check out how much space we have available to us on the 767. And now there is one more model. We'll worry about that when we film our Sydney adventure. Now get a feel for that. So run that through your head and keep watching, because now we're going to take all three of these boats for a bit of a spin into the ocean. I saw some whales yesterday, and I'm just going to try and find some more because it could be fun. And the tide, it's rising, but then it's going to be lowering. There are some really difficult spots to get in and out up here on the Gold Coast. And if you've got a bigger boat, they're just basically closed to you. But with a smaller boat, with shallow draft and outboards, and if you haven't already noticed, the world's best fender, things like bumping up into strange wharfs, pulling yourself up onto a beach, going visiting some friends, it's all open to you. So we're just going to actually just go and do that right now. Stumbling on my words. So keep watching. We'll go out to the ocean and then we'll put these things through their paces and see what you can learn. Okay, Ken, Hans, if you can hear me, I'll go first. Ken, you second, Hans third, then let's form up and let's go see how these boats feel out in a couple of waves. So I'm on the smallest boat. I'm on the 647. I got the 707 coming in next to me. This should be a bit of fun. And then Hans is on the bigger boat, which we've already filmed in part 1 down in Melbourne. And so the plan here is to actually see what it feels like on the smallest hull and then bring you guys along for the ride. The tide has changed, so I do need to point that out. The waves could be slightly different and getting worse. Now it should be an outgoing tide as to compared to what we had during the drone shoot. But we'll see, we'll get whatever we get. And then once we've done this, we're gonna find a safe place within the channel to really test out these boats from a standstill. So we're going to do a standstill full throttle and we'll see which boat's fastest. We'll just explain which engines we have on each particular boat. We'll let Hans catch up. I don't know if it's Hans or Hans. Hans? Is it Hans or Hans?
The Dutch way, Hans.
Okay, the Dutch way, Hans. I'm going to remember that now. I was calling you Hans before.
It doesn't matter, Don.
Don is good. Oh, too good. So guys, we'll form up and we'll get close to this green marker, and then when it's all clear, let's get up on the plane and we'll just go for a little cruise before we find some waves and see how these boats feel. Okay, so I've got my SOG here, I've got my revs just there. Not too worried about fuel flow, kind of want to just experience the ride on this smaller boat, because I think many of you who possibly even up here on the Gold Coast who would have bought something like a jet ski could look at this and realize that you can achieve so much more with it. I'm gonna go hat back for this one. All these boats are trailerable, 2.44 meters. So hopefully you noticed that earlier when I was pointing it out, but in Australia anyway, that allows you to put these on a trailer. Let's start accelerating. A little bit of tide flowing now. Let the guys catch up. All right, I've got kilometers per hour on the dial here, and I'm seeing 30, and I'm just going to get up to 35. Again, not about racing today. I just want to keep the boats in formation. I want to feel the boat, and then I want to explain to you guys what's possible. A little bit going on when you try and do a 3-boat shoot through traffic, tide, and outgoing tide with incoming swell. So a little bit of concentration, but hopefully you'll appreciate the pics. Alrighty, just going to cut round gently to the left. Beautiful water here. We're just passing Wave Break Island here on the Gold Coast. Really nice spot to come and play. For those of you who are not from the area, I've seen many a time, I've seen guys out here on foiling boards. You know, that's the sort of activity that if you wanted to go find the best spot, you could have a boat like this, and if it's happening somewhere else, you could just jump on the boat and go and find it. You know, a hole like this really does open those sorts of opportunities up to you. I can see dolphins up ahead, and now I'm going to start turning. Okay, seen a few dolphins today, saw lots of whales yesterday. We're not going to head out far enough to realistically see any today, I don't think. What we'll do, we'll head over to the starboard side of the channel now. I've got one tourist jet boat just coming in on starboard. He's all over the place, so we'll let him decide what he wants to do, and we'll just hold a course so it's obvious what we're doing. I'm just going to be playing with my engine trim. He's crossing my bow. There we go. Jesus, that can't be good for your health. Oh, some of those tourist boats, they must get some back injuries. All right, just cruising out here at speed. Just going to maintain this course for a little while. We're starting to see a few waves rolling in. Now I've got to watch out for surfers paddling across the channel. I want to stick to the starboard side, and we've also got fishermen. So we've got fishermen and we've got boats coming in as well. So a little bit going on. What we may have to do is just cut a turn earlier than planned, but we'll just suss that out as we go. Guys, we got an incoming boat and a fisherman where we need to be, so we may have to turn early, just letting you know. Through those waves, I'm still dry. I'm still dry, guys. Yeah, that's just such a good experience for what is a small boat. I'm going through a nice mix of conditions here, guys, and I'm not wet. Let's just speed it up a little bit. No one's overtaking me. Okay, let's speed up. Okay, I can really feel the power in this little thing. Woo! She gets up and goes. Okay, I look forward to the race. She's actually quite lively, this boat, when you step on the gas. Heaps of power. All right, we got a dredge up ahead, which we're going to need to avoid. So we'll pull in here, then we're going to reset for our race. Very manageable.
Go.
Yep. Hans smoked us. It's quite controllable, you know, even though we're obviously picking the flat water, but we're ripping along at 80, 83. 85 kilometres an hour. A little bit lighter when you trim up there, but nothing that's not manageable. Don't go into the shallow water, Hans. Very cool. Bloody hard job we got here, Ken. What a tough day that was.
How do you put up with doing this?
I know.
Yeah. Everyone's down home. It's freezing cold. There
Yeah.
was ice in the covers and work the other morning. The boys sent the photos. We're up here in the sun. It's beautiful. And we got these nice boats to run around in. How do you do it?
Oh, look, someone's got to do it. So Ken's from the Iron Boats team, but you're also a mechanic and you're based down in Melbourne.
That's right. I'm the service manager down at Nautical Marine. So
Yep.
been looking after outboards for more years than I care to remember.
So we learnt quite a bit there. I was on the little boat and I had the V8, and we noticed some differences between the V8 and the V6 off the line.
Yeah, well, the V8 one there, that's the Pro XS, so that's kind of the sporty model anyway.
Yep.
So it was definitely much quicker out of the hole. The 707's got a 225 on it, so yeah, we've got a bit more horsepower, but it comes in a little bit later. It's not as snappy. So we were able to then pace with you a little bit, so definitely different.
All good fun. When I was at top speed, I gave it a bit of a trim up. I overrode the auto trim, and the steering felt a little bit light, but really controllable, not to the point where, like on some of the ski boats I've had in the past, I'm concerned that I'm going to kill myself. This thing is nothing like that. It's safe is the way I would describe it.
Yeah, very easy to drive. If you got the auto trim set up properly, and it's all set up as these are, if anyone that can steer a steering wheel or push a throttle down, they can drive that boat.
But what we learnt going through the waves, like any boat, particularly a boat with a pointy bow, don't point it at the wave at full speed because then you'll get wet. We didn't. We stayed dry. We were comfortable, but we just controlled our speed.
Yeah, we kept it nice and safe. Then you can actually charge through there a bit harder, but you really want to know what you're doing on that.
100%, because a lot of you, I think, watching many of the haul-over videos, and you jump into the comments about going faster in those scenarios that like we've just been in today. And I just want to sort of convey to you that if you've got an outgoing tide and stand-up waves, it's not necessarily a good idea. So that's kind of on you. The boat's going to handle it, but can you and just settle down.
Yeah, you can definitely get yourself into trouble if you do the wrong thing, but you actually have to do the wrong thing in it. So.
Correct. I agree. So for those, so many manufacturers that I test, particularly the European ones, will offer a really, really small horsepower option, which on most boats, I would say to people, don't even bother with it because they're just trying to make the price look cheap and the boat's not going to go very well with the smallest horsepower option. What's your observation on these boats with any of the small horsepowers, and have you installed any of the smallest horsepowers available?
Well, we have put on the 647, we put a 150 horsepower Pro XS. It actually went surprisingly well, but it was a little boring, you know.
Yep.
So to step up to the 200 is really the ideal engine for that boat.
Yep.
But you can see on the 707, that's not the maximum horsepower, and it's still enough to have, you know, a pretty good time in it.
So you can generally say across the board that the middle of the range option in terms of horsepower is always going to be acceptable, and then go from there as to how much fun you want to have.
That's exactly right. I'd go from middle of the range to the top of the range horsepower. Personally, I would always go the top of the range horsepower because
Why not?
bigger's better.
Now, one thing that was coming up, a question that was being asked many times at the boat show, is this aluminium? It's not aluminium, it's fiberglass.
Yeah, definitely fiberglass. I think the name iron gives a bit of a mixed conception. Also, the lines on it give it a similar sort of feel, being a bit square and not as soft as most fiberglass boats are.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely 100% fiberglass.
And so the observations that I make whenever I drive a fiberglass boat versus an aluminium one is they're just quieter, like going through the waves. It feels like a smoother, more, if you're looking for, call it a bit more of a luxurious ride, you get that on fiberglass. Anything else to add to that?
Yeah, what you'll find with fiberglass too, it's more efficient through the water, because no matter what you do and how good your aluminium hull is, you can never get it super straight. So there's a lot of drag from that. So performance-wise, ride quality, it's just so much better.
Awesome. So from here, we're going to have to go to Sydney and do some more boating, because we've got the 827 and the 827 Coupe, which is the biggest model in the range. Did I get it right? 827, all these numbers.
No, that's right, yeah. So, yeah, it's a bit hard. We have to go to Sydney and do more boating, isn't it?
I know, right?
But, yeah, so we got the 827, which is basically just a bigger version of the 767 you see there. The Coupe has got an enclosed cabin on it, which is the 827 hull. I personally haven't seen it yet, but I'm really excited. I know Hans has been in it, and I'll be able to tell you more about that after.
Yep.
But, yeah, very excited about those.
Awesome. So that's going to be part 3 of this series, guys. And I just want you to really ask yourself, what's your mission? How do you see yourself using your current boat and then the next boat? And then does what you see here fit your mission? Because that's essentially what you have to do with every boat purchase. But with the iron boats, simplicity of design, simplicity of construction, it's essentially that equals more boating for you, because there's not so much going on. You can use it as a tender, you can use it to run around, throw it up on the beach, do a bit of fishing, all sorts of things you can think of, tow a skier, you can apply to an iron boat. So that's why I like this brand, and I honestly do reckon it's going to be one of the next cult classics. I said that in the first part, I do believe that, and it seems like it's already happening in Melbourne.
Yeah, anyone we get in it falls in love with it, and we've got quite a few down on the southern end of the bay now in Melbourne. And people that come to the show, and if they've seen it on the social media, and there's a fair bit of excitement around it.
I can understand why. So see you in Sydney. And for those of you who are seriously wanting to buy one of these boats, if you're not already talking to the dealers, the link's in the description below. And if you've got questions for me, which many of you seem to, you're more than welcome to put those to me, but do it in Patreon. And I'm going to film some extra content right now. And I'm just going to ask all the things these guys, because I've got the whole team here, have learnt, good, bad, ugly, in between, whatever, about the boat and the experience of owning a boat, an iron boat, and hopefully that will help you in your journey of making a decision on whether it's right for you or not. You're all legends. Thanks, Ken. See you
Thanks,
on
Tom.
the next one. Thanks, guys.